Hi, welcome to a special offensive episode response to that Packers game, that awful Packers game. Let's go into it because I think some of you maybe who aren't Packer fans or maybe are new to being a Packer fan in the last couple of years don't understand how a good team could lose a game like that. Well, I can tell you it's called a Lafluer Special. And we've done it before. And there's three key ingredients to a Lafluer Special. Ingredient number one is tentative and usually bad play calling, which is what we did today. We ran the ball more than we passed the ball against the league's number one run defense. And I understand our offensive line is hurt, and I understand that they weren't doing great against the pass block, but passing on first down does tend to mitigate some of that. It was just bad play calling all day. The double end arounds to Golden back to back when it hadn't worked all day. I mean, I don't think Lafluer knew what to do. He just was off. The offense was off. It felt bad. So that's key ingredient number one of Lafluer Special. Key ingredient number two is a backbreaking turnover, which Jordan Love threw to their team, not to anyone on the Packers. I don't know what he saw. I don't know what the miscommunication was, but he threw it right to the Cleveland guy. Backbreaking turnover. They get it at the 4. Easy touchdown, 7 points. So completely wiped off anything we did offensively, right? So that was the key one. If you guys remember Mercedes Lewis's fumble in the game, in the San Francisco game, or like Aaron Jones's fumble in the playoffs, like, a back-breaking turnover is a big part of a Lafluer Special. The third key ingredient to a Lafluer Special, and the most consistent of all, is disgusting special teams play, really poor special teams play. And as you saw, all the penalties on special teams today, Golden should have went up and fair caught a ball, and he let it get down to the 2-yard line. And then, of course, the blocked field goal off the edge, which you never see happen. Like up the middle, sure, that happens a few times a year. Off the edge, do you know how often that happens? Almost never. You got to be really bad to let that happen. And we did, because that's what Lafleur's special teams have been. Even with Rich Bisaccia, I think it's been improved. But, the fact that McManus is a good field goal kicker and we have a decent punter has made it better. But our special teams are still probably one of the worst in the NFL. And that's a huge component to a Lafluer Special loss, is poor special teams play. So to recap, a Lafluer Special includes really poor, very unaggressive, very meek play calling, a backbreaking turnover, and a complete disaster on special teams. And that's exactly what happened today. That's exactly what happened in the loss to San Francisco a few years ago when we were the number 1 seed. And it's happened multiple times before. Packers fans knows what they are. And so if you were wondering how it happened today, that's how it happened. Now, am I asking them to fire Lafluer? No, he's a great coach. He's a fantastic coach. If you look at his win percentage over his first 6 years in the league, it's one of the best in history. The problem is his playoff win percentage, not as good, right? And why is that? This was like a playoff game. This is kind of ugly and scrappy how playoff games go. And you don't win playoff games when you make major mistakes like on special teams or backbreaking turnovers. So this is why I have a hard time believing the Packers can make the Super Bowl, because you have to win games like that in the playoffs. And the Lafluer Packers find ways to lose those games. Hence the Lafluer Special. But it's only week 3, guys. Don't put your heads down. We're going to Dallas next week. Their defense is terrible. I feel like the offense is going to step it up. Lafleur's been good against Dallas consistently. So I feel like we're going to be okay. But it's hard to take. Feels kind of gross. I feel kind of sick after watching that game, because I've seen that game. I've seen that game 5 times, maybe more. And we kind of just knew, like Packer fans who were watching just kind of knew, like once, like 10-10, and once we started making mistakes, 10-0, we started making mistakes, and all of a sudden it's 10-10. Like, I don't know. I just had a bad feeling about it. We all had a bad feeling about it, and it's because we've seen this game before. So that's what happens with the Packers, and part of it's because they're young. But that's not the whole part. I think it's just part of Matt LaFleur's existence, and I don't understand why. And I hope he gets over it, and I hope he figures out how to be more aggressive in certain games like this and not be predictable, which I think he was very predictable today. But just the other stuff, like the turnover and the special teams play, like he can't necessarily control that. But it just happens. It happens every single time. And it's called a Lafluer Special, and that's how they lost today. So, but keep your head up, Packer fans. It's going to be all right. It's a long season. The defense played fantastic today. They really only allowed 3 points, if you think about it, 1 drive. And yes, the Browns offense is terrible, but we gave them 10 points on the field goal block, and then 7 from the interception. So we gave them 10 points. We allowed 3. So defense is still good, and defense is going to win you a lot of football games. So I think we're going to be okay. Doesn't feel like it right now because that was so bad, but I think the Packers are going to be okay. but you got to learn to win those games, especially when it comes playoff time. And, you know, there's just a part of me that worries we don't know how, especially with Lafluer and the way he starts to call plays when the game is close. He doesn't call plays aggressively. He's no Dan Campbell. And this is why Dan Campbell usually beats him and Shanahan usually beats him, because he just goes into this shell. And I talked about it before, but I'm not too worried right now. I just, you know, I feel sick about it, but, you know, we've seen it before and usually it's okay. All right, Packer fans, chin up. Thanks for watching.